By understanding how people make decisions, you can put the magic of emotional engagement into your experience and get them to take that next step by feeling safe, secure, and confident in your decisions. So now we're getting to the meat of the discussion. Why do people make the decisions they do? Now, we've been taught to believe that people make decisions based on facts, needs, benefits, and especially in business-to-business purchases. And I'm going to tell you that that's all a bunch of hooey. In theory, customers are successfully acquired because the companies offer a product that has the features the customers want, and it's all described with a clearly communicated value prop and persuasive messaging. But this isn't true. There's a single underlying reason why people choose to buy or not from you. And it's based on how they're feeling about your product, about their decision, and about how this will improve their lives. Antonio Damasio is a researcher and neuroscientist who discovered that people need emotions to make decisions. This man, Elliot, had a problem. He was formerly a successful stockbroker who had a tragic frontal lobe tumor. And after the tumor was removed, he couldn't hold on to his job, lost his marriage, and made some disastrous business and life decisions, turning his life into a tragic mess. After a few sessions, Damasio realized that the problem wasn't Elliot's intellect, but how he responded to emotions. So in one set of tests, the researchers showed Elliot photos of situations that would cause most people distress or great joy, but he showed no response. Then Damasio would hear his life story and realize that Elliot expressed no emotions about that either. Damasio made the connection between decisions and emotions when he noticed that Elliot could brainstorm a number of ideas, but he just couldn't make a decision. And here's a great quote from Damasio that was in an article. I began to think that the cold-bloodedness of Elliot's reasoning prevented him from assigning different values to different options, Damasio writes. And this made his decision-making landscape hopelessly flat. After some research, Damasio realized that Elliot's problem was more closely related to emotions and feelings rather than rational logic. And this is also from another article as well. Essentially, he reasons, when you're thinking about a course of action, you imagine your body to be in the potential situation, and you get, in layman's terms, a good or bad feeling about it. And it's not that right decisions come from that sort of feeling alone, but Damasio argues these somatic markers filter away lots of alternatives. They're a shortcut to decision-making. So while Elliot's landscape of potential realities all had flat values, healthy people weigh the potential outcomes that are left after somatic markers filter all the other possibilities out. So as Damasio said in a later interview, wisdom, if you choose to accept it, is what happens when you accrue lots of somatic knowledge in your life. If you've been through lots, then you know how you would feel in a wide variety of situations, allowing you to make better decisions and give as one does better advice. Therein lies the problem of the high reason view. Without the filtering provided by emotions and their somatic markers, the data sets for any given decision, whether it's what to get for lunch or whom to marry, would be overwhelming. The working memory can only juggle so many objects at once. To make the right call, you need to feel your way, or at least part of your way, there. So now, first, his rationale validates the paradox of choice as outlined by Barry Schwartz. It's hard to make a decision when you're overwhelmed. And the great example is the case of selling 26 jelly flavors at a mall. The salesperson was more effective when he offered only 8 to be sampled rather than all 26. But Damasio's introducing here a new factor, how emotions help filter decision options. Damasio's explanation probably ruined the definition of intuition for you, so I'm sorry about that. But because he made it about biology and somatic markers from your experience rather than meaning. But in some ways, this isn't really surprising. As biological beings, we are always looking to feel good. We'll base our decisions on the quest to achieve this, using logic to support our feelings. But we can use the example of relationships. So let's say you have a good friend and you feel good around him or her. And let's say you meet someone similar to them. Your body remembers these feelings with your friend, and that's what intuition is, your body talking to you through its feelings, which becomes emotions. And that helps guide you to make a decision to talk to this person or not. And this knowledge is especially useful for us in marketing. By creating a feeling, we can tap into these somatic markers and memories to help people associate a past feeling with our product. If we keep the feeling pleasant, then we'll be associated with pleasant thoughts. And who doesn't want to constantly feel great all the time? Now we're going to talk a little bit about meaning. Now, just consider, do you remember what you did on December 23rd, 3 years ago? Why or why not? Now, if we change the date, do you remember what you did on December 25th, Christmas Day, 3 years ago? Why or why not? Now, we always remember what we did on Christmas Day. It's a key family holiday for many Christians. We'll remember Christmases from years past, even into our childhood. But we don't necessarily remember them because we have good memories. We remember them because Christmas Day is meaningful. We don't typically remember exactly what happened before or after Christmas Day unless something life-changing occurred. Humans require a sense of meaning in their lives. Alfred Adler said humans are driven by power. Freud said humans are driven by sex and reproduction. Viktor Frankl saw humans driven by meaning, which comes from his experience of the concentration camps during World War II, which is outlined in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Now, the first part of his book documents his experience in the camps, which provided the backbone for his theories. And while in the camps, well, the men didn't have any power, and there was no way for them to get power. They lost all their sex drive from the abuse and starvation. But amazingly, few lost their will to survive. Some men would often think about their loved ones and dream of being together again. And this, with prayer or creating art, would help them find meaning and give them the will to survive to make it out of the camps. We tend to place meaning onto events and circumstances in our life to make sense out of it. We want to be part of a bigger story, which is why religion is so popular. Those of us who reject meaning and embrace beliefs like nihilism or like the belief in nothing are often driven to addiction and suicide. Meaning is that vital for our survival in adversity. If your brand can provide that meaning to your customers, a vision, that bigger story, then you can connect with your customers emotionally. They don't want to just buy a widget from you. They want to be part of what you're creating in the world, part of how your company's making a difference. A company that does this really, really well is Patagonia. And not only are their products environmentally friendly and humanely sourced, but they're taking on the supply chain to improve human rights and labor practices globally. So when you buy from Patagonia, you're not buying just outdoor wear. You're supporting the environment, human rights, animal rights, and even labor rights of employees in factories in places like Indonesia and Malaysia. Self-interest or motivation. So if we go back to the section on emotions, everyone wants to feel good about what they're doing. So let's apply this to self-interest. What's the benefit people get about buying your product from your brand and company? And I know meaning raises the issue of connecting with a larger vision of the world, and people want to feel good. So let's apply that to them choosing what's in their own best interest. Well, social media provides connection. Cheap digital shopping provides great joy for those who seek a deal. We use search engines to find information quickly for instant gratification. We'll use ebooks so we don't need to carry heavy books around and feel smart that we maintain a portable library. But what else are these individuals getting out of the interaction beyond an object or information? The reward could be validating a perspective of themselves, providing a feeling or emotion so they feel good. That's why some people choose to read certain magazines. They may genuinely like the articles, or just having the magazine may reinforce a worldview that could make them feel comfortable. It could be that the product triggers feelings associated with a past memory that's comforting. What do these people see as a reward for purchasing beyond your product? What is truly in it for them, for their ego, for their own selves? That's the interest. So to give an example to tie these all together, let's look at an example. Fixing a leaky roof. So let's say it's raining and your roof is leaking and you need it fixed. But let's say you have a kid in school, a family member in the hospital, a wedding to attend, and you're short on funds. So what's the priority? And honestly, it's really hard to say. It depends on the family, your perspective of yourself, how you think other people see you. But in the end, you will choose the decision that will make you feel good as a person. So the straightforward logical answer is to fix the roof, right? However, that's only one option given the complexity of the situation. Now, fixing the roof could be a high priority to protect family heirlooms in the attic. What's there could be your only connection to the past. Fixing the roof could protect your family from mold and mildew. Maybe you're already noticing health problems from this. Paying for a child's college tuition may take priority because you may want to see that child graduate, or you could go to a very different view. You don't want to be seen as a deadbeat by your family, the school, or your own kid. The family member in the hospital may take priority for many reasons: familiar love, guilt, or appearance to friends, neighbors, or hospital staff. The wedding could take priority, depending on who the wedding was for. Now, to fix the roof, there may be other people involved in this decision. Your spouse may have input. If you have adult children or other family members in your house, they may have input. Now, to add even more complexity, it may not be entirely clear who will pay for this roof. Another adult family member may own the home and need to pay, or it may be you, or it could be that you need another loan. Some of the reasons I included may not sound particularly noble, but they are motivations that are emotionally driven and driven by situations that aren't always discussed. Knowing this helps you understand why someone may or may not buy a solution and what may be a better motivator. So considering this, how would you market roof repair? And I know this is one imaginary case, and this does not apply to everyone across the board, but it illustrates that roof repair isn't always top of mind. It's usually one of many priorities. So how do you make it the top priority for someone? Now, if you go the logical, factual approach, it would be marketing roof repairs to keep your family dry and the structure sound. And that should be leveraged information. But the more emotional approach that may boost its priority would be to message protecting your family's health, memories, and history. If your house is structurally damaged with mold and mildew, your family could get ill and someone else may be in the hospital. You could lose your belongings that may have had sentimental value. With a damaged roof, you're opening your family to all sorts of challenges. Health, safety, and happiness comes from a solid roof. We sometimes don't realize it, but considering how other perspectives of how someone could view the problem and solution using more emotional drivers could create a new story, even about something like roof repair. Money. We often hear consumers and businesses not buy a solution because it costs too much and it's out of budget. But I've always noticed that if a business needs something badly, money magically appears. Suddenly $500,000 just fell from the sky like rain. Or you're able to finance a $20,000 project. Or suddenly a $25,000 car isn't so out of reach if your current car is on the fritz. People find money to solve a problem if they want that problem solved. Otherwise, money is a great excuse not to solve a problem. How people spend money reflects their priority system. It's also a reflection of how they view themselves, their business, and how solving this problem will benefit them. The decision factor here isn't the money, it's what is motivating your customer to solve the problem. Money discussions too early in the process transform your solution into a commodity, and then you get into a race to be the cheapest. To avoid this, try to keep the discussion to helping the customer see a vision of choosing a new life with your product as much as possible. Now, any discussion on emotions and customers isn't complete if we don't talk about fear. Fear is a powerful motivator that is often abused. Sure, in sales and marketing, we'll leverage it in messaging to make a sale. Of course, last one, only 5 left, similar messages. Or we hear you have only 1 more day to sign up and then you miss out. Anything about a limit or fear of missing out is a fear-based message. There's a temporal transactional quality to them that makes them effective to happen right now. However, fear-based messaging doesn't offer much relationship value. It doesn't provide context for a problem, a solution, or vision for how your life can be improved. The focus is on a single action, making that transaction. But where does the conversation go from there? A non-fear-based message to help someone purchase would leverage an informative message with a call to action, an invitation. For example, we would like to invite you to a class or webinar that starts in 2 days to be with like-minded people. The next class is next year. Would really like to have you in our group this year. Or for a B2B product. We are running this special pricing offer for the next couple of weeks, and we've noticed that you've had a problem that we can help you solve. Maybe the offer you can have right now and solve your problem today. And you can be like others who have had a great results. Take a look. And you can feel the difference. These messages are welcoming. There's nothing to lose. It uses that temporal element of signing up today as the motivator, but the real motivation being communicated is that you should be part of the larger community. If not today, then in the future. Decisions are about change. When we decide to wake up in the morning, we're deciding to change from being nice and sleepy warm under the covers to start our day. When we go to eat breakfast, we are deciding to go from being hungry to satisfied. When we clean up for the day, we're deciding to become presentable to the public. The same is true when you're deciding to buy a product. You are making a conscious change. You may be buying lunch to satisfy a craving and to go from feeling hungry to feeling satisfied, or buying a couch to change the feel of your home, a new color, a new look. You may be buying your team software so they can be more effective. Sales are about making a change. And it's not that change is hard or difficult, it's just uncomfortable because you're introducing something new into your life. Most of us start exercise regimens because we know that they are essential for a healthy life. We will adopt new tools and systems at work because the boss wants it and it'll help us do better work. We see the benefits after the change as outweighing the pain of making the change in the first place. The problem with selling a solution is that you need to convince your customer that life is better if they make the change you think that they should make. And the benefits outweigh existing pain. Now, Dr. Srini Pillai has done a lot of work in this area, and one of his views is that we need to see change as essential to our lives, or we simply won't do it. So if we look at an example, sometimes I'll decide to buy shoes, but I don't really need them. I have many shoes at home. But somehow I convinced myself that it was necessary to get new shoes, to be happy, fulfilled, whatever was desired in my mind at the time. And with the emotions that make me feel good backing this up, the decision is an inevitable yes. So what's the real need for the shoes? Could be my own self-esteem, my own vanity, or both. It's definitely an emotional and not a physical driver. And the same is true for your customers when they decide to choose your product. So let's say you're selling a company a server to support their excessive data needs. The company probably already has a solution. So they could use what they have or find a different solution with your company. There are many stakeholders in this decision, which means that there are many people who could gain from this decision. A director may see industry trends changing and they want to try a different approach, but he will only decide to move forward if he feels that this is urgent for him to do at his company. They want to be on the cutting edge and feel a sense of accomplishment when this succeeds. Conversely, another team member is afraid of losing their job and wants to keep the existing technology. Now, this team member needs to see that this product is the future, and learning how this technology works will help them in their career prospects. Make sure you always bring the user back to feel good about a decision and understand why it's a good decision. Now, let's say you are this director and decide to implement this solution and install it in your organization, but there are problems. You start to wonder if you made the right decision. Now, you probably did, but the problem isn't the solution or the implementation. The problem is that your organization is changing, and many there may or may not know the end vision or goals. But there is another type of fear. What if we don't do it? Will we stay competitive? Will this change be worth it? Now, you can use this to your advantage when you paint the picture for someone about their lives with the solution. What will happen if you don't make the change? Get the customer to consider their life without it and determine the value.